Tony Khan has broken his silence on the return of CM Punk, and AEW have held talks over the debut of this major star. But first, let's take a look at the key stories coming out of last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, where two champions put their titles on the line. The opening contest would see recent Blackjack Battle Royal finalists Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland go one-on-one, this time in singles action for the AEW International Championship. Unfortunately for the realists, it was Cassidy that came out on top once again, much like the last time they came face to face, as after Swerve attempted to steal the victory with the use of grabbing the tights in a roll-up, Orange would reverse and pull the same trick, securing the 1-2-3. This would lead to the Mogul Embassy hitting the ring to lay the champion out, this before the lights went out. Darby Allin and Sting would then appear in the ring with the Embassy bailing to the ramp. The match was Orange Cassidy's 24th defense of his International Championship since winning the belt back in October 2022 with a win over Pac. With Freshly Squeezed leaning towards increasingly more desperate measures to hold onto his title as the defenses stack up, it'll be interesting to see how much longer he can hang on for. Later in the show, another championship match would take place with the new AEW TBS champion Chris Statlander putting her title on the line against Anna J.A.S. Despite regular distractions from the Jericho Appreciation Society's Matt Menard, Statlander would retain after dropping her opponent with a tombstone piledriver. Taya Valkyrie would then be shown watching on, with her visibly unhappy with the result, as AEW seemingly built towards a title match between the two women. Later on in the night, AEW World Champion MJF would make his presence known in Colorado Springs. Following his recent four-way title defense against fellow pillars of AEW Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy, the champ would declare that there is no competition left for him in AEW. This would then lead to the reveal of his next title challenger, Adam Cole. The two would then go back and forth on the mic, with Max telling Cole that whilst he used to look up to him prior to his run in AEW, he now understands why Vince McMahon didn't see him as a top guy during his time in NXT. After more personal verbal jabs were landed, it was later confirmed that the two men will meet next week on AEW Dynamite in a world title eliminator match, which means if Cole can walk away with the win, he earns himself a future championship match. It's possible that this could set up a match for the Forbidden Door event on June 25th, although this wouldn't necessarily fit the theme of AEW versus NJPW. Perhaps we could be set to see some matches that are exclusively All Elite themed, and perhaps some that are exclusively New Japan themed. During the show last night, AEW President Tony Khan would make yet another announcement concerning the debut episode of the upcoming Saturday Night Collision, with them revealing what the main event will be at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois on June 17th. As many expected, the bout will see CM Punk take on old ROH rival Samoa Joe, however it won't be in singles action. The two men will find themselves on opposing sides of a trios match, with Joe set to team with Bullet Club Gold's Jay White and Juice Robinson, whilst Punk aligns with AEW World Tag Team Champions Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, also known as FTR. The news follows a recent report from Fightful Select that noted that the Second City Saint has expressed an interest in working with Switchblade Jay White upon his return to the company, somebody whose work has impressed him in recent times. It remains to be seen if this will eventually lead to a singles match between Samoa Joe and CM Punk, or even Jay White and CM Punk, things that have widely been reported as a strong possibility. But what do you make of the announcement of the first AEW Collision main event? Let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of Bullet Club Gold, they played a pivotal role on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, where the group expanded to 4 members. In the main event of the night, Switchblade Jay White would take on Ricky Starks in singles action, this with both competitors' allies barred from ringside, that being Juice Robinson and FTR respectively. At the close of the match, the referee would find himself knocked out, with White's foot catching him in the head on the way down as Starks hit him with a Rochambeau, with this providing a chance for an interference. Former AEW World Tag Champions Colton and Austin Gunn would then emerge from the crowd, laying Ricky out with a 410 before the referee was able to get back to his senses. Switchblade would then take advantage of the situation, hitting a Blade Runner to Starks for extra measure, securing the pinfall win in the process. It appears that the Gunns are now new members of Bullet Club Gold, this after another Fightful Select report dropped prior to the show, which revealed that additions to the group were imminent, adding that Samoa Joe will not be an official member despite his involvement in the Collision main event. Going by their surname, the Gunns feel like a good fit for BCG, with us now awaiting the reveal of the official Gun Club merchandise. Now let's get to another story concerning the returning CM Punk, somebody AEW President Tony Khan would break his silence on earlier this week. Prior to the official announcement last week that CM Punk would be making his way back to All Elite Wrestling, Khan has been tight-lipped on what the future could hold for his former world champion, with him refusing to answer any questions related to the straight-edge superstar. However, in an interview this week with Sports Illustrated, Tony would heap praise on Punk, highlighting his importance to the company, and Tony would say, "We haven't seen CM Punk in a long time since All Out last September. He looked great in his last match. To the fans, he's very important. He's very important to the company too. He's been a big draw for us and historically throughout his career, and the launch of the new show happens to line up with the schedule on his rehab of his triceps injury. We have an amazing opportunity with AEW on Saturday nights on TNT starting June 17th, and was truly the brainchild of Warner Bros. Discovery CEO and President David Zaslav." He asked about more AEW, specifically Saturday nights on TNT. "When it was pitched at us by TNT, I was so excited. It's so exciting the timing of Punk's return from injury coincides with the launch of Collision." It's worth noting the mention of David Zaslav, whose idea it was for AEW Collision, who's more recently been known for cuts rather than additions. Just as a bonus note concerning CM Punk, after rewatching the original Tony Khan announcement that he would be present at the first episode of Collision, he didn't specify that this would be the home of his actual return, with him simply stating that the show will feature CM Punk. Perhaps I'm reading too much into it, but do you think this could mean that he could show up before June 17th? Let me know in the comments down below. And next up, Forbidden Door is just over 2 weeks away, with the stars of All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro-Wrestling set to go head-to-head in the now annual crossover event. One name fans had hoped would be present on the card was former IWGP Women's Champion Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks in WWE, although her recent injury has seemingly ruled her out of the running. With that said, we now have a fresh report from Sports Illustrated, which adds some clarification on the Mercedes situation prior to her damaging her right ankle during the finals of the NJPW Strong Women's Title Tournament, which resulted in a change of plans mid-match, with AEW's Willow Nightingale leaving with the belt instead. According to the report, Tony Khan and Mercedes Moné had significant discussions over an appearance at the Forbidden Door show, and Sports Illustrated would write, "While Khan would not definitively comment on whether she would have been part of the card, any such plans were derailed last month when she broke her ankle in a match against Willow Nightingale to crown the first NJPW Strong Women's Champion. Multiple sources close to Khan have confirmed that there were significant discussions with Moné, which bodes well for a potential appearance in the future." Depending on the severity of the injury to Moné's ankle, it's still very possible that we will see her inside an AEW ring before the year comes to an end, although how soon that could happen, or if it'll be before Forbidden Door, remains to be seen. With that said, AEW do have the Boston Garden edition of AEW Dynamite on the horizon come July 19th, which is of course the hometown of Mercedes, the perfect location for her AEW debut. All Elite Wrestling have announced a brand new weekly television show, Collision, and I am about to show you how AEW can use this opportunity to build towards the rivalry that we're all craving for.